A new collectible card game made by Riot Games called Legends of Runeterra just got into its first alpha. Went to its first review on 15th of October, and I was one of the lucky ones who got in. And I decided to make this in-depth beginner's guide for anyone looking into getting the second preview or getting into Legends of Runeterra entirely. Before I get into the guide, I would like to let you guys know that I do have a gameplay series of Legends of Runeterra on my YouTube. I'll link to it on the top right over the corner right here. And if you guys want to check that out, feel free. I also live stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/Aturter, and on the 14th of November, when the second preview hit, I'll be live again. So, without further ado, let's get right into the guide. Legends of Runeterra allows you to make decks with up to 40 cards. 6 of these cards can be champions, and the rest can be any other card from a max of 2 different regions. Every card will have a mana cost. Followers and champions will also have an attack value and a health value. In total, there are 6 different regions, and all of the regions have 4 different champs. The different regions are Demacia, which is really focused on creating and buffing minions for board control. Noxus, which is aggressively focused, and it focuses on attacking the Nexus early on. We have Freljord, uses crowd control to oppose a late game threat. We have Piltover and Zaun, the spell centered to either attack the enemy or control the game. Ionia uses interesting mechanics to outsmart your enemy and be one step ahead of the game. Shadow Isles gains power out of sacrificing your units and synergizing with ephemeral units. So, what is ephemeral? Legends of Runeterra has a wide variety of keywords, and those keywords contain abilities such as ephemeral. Ephemeral, for example, is when a unit has ephemeral, the unit will die or be destroyed at the end of the round, or when it has attacked. And the way you can spot these ephemeral units is by the purple hourglass icon that will be displayed on the card. Or other keywords are regeneration. When a unit has regeneration, it regenerates all lost health every single round, unless the unit dies. The regeneration is indicated by the potion or the potion card icon on the card. We have elusive. Elusive characters will be spotted by the mist around the card or the crossed out icon card on the card. And these elusive cards can only be blocked by other elusive units or be killed via spells. Overwhelm. Overwhelm will be displayed by a cleaver around the border of the card. And what Overwhelm does is that excess damage done to the unit or done to the blocker is done to the enemy nexus as well. Let's say you have Darius has Overwhelm and it hits a Poro, the excess damage will be done to the nexus. Tough. Tough will be displayed by the tower icon on the card, and it will be displayed by the enforced health. Tough units will receive 1 less damage per hit. Then we have Quick Attack. Quick Attack units will attack first in the attack phase, and you'll spot them by the lightning around the attack and health on the bottom of the card. We have Challenger. Challenger units can force an opponent to block them, and these will be indicated by the hook icon on the card. Furthermore, we have Enlightened. This will be displayed in the card text. This will not be displayed on an icon. At least it wasn't on Review 1. Enlighten triggers you, as a player, have 10 max mana. Barrier will be displayed by a gold color around the border of the card, or it will be displayed by either text or a shield icon on the card. Next one, we have Lifesteal. It heals the Nexus for the amount of damage done, and it heals it up to the maximum of 20, because 20 is the maximum health a Nexus can have. It will be displayed by the health drop icon with a plus in it. And lastly, for now, is Frostbite. And Frostbite will set a unit's attack to 0 for 1 round. So, on to champions. Each champion contains a level up addition, which if the requirements are met, increases the unit's stats and skill. So, for example, if you take a look at Karma, the keyword Enlightened means that at 10 max mana, Karma will level up, and she will gain +1/+1 in stats. Furthermore, her skill will be upgraded, and what will do, whenever you cast a spell, Karma will cast a spell again on the same targets And we have classes. And these classes don't have major impact on the game, but could make up another win condition in a deck. You wouldn't make a deck certainly based around a class, but they can make up a win condition. There are totally 5 different classes. It's Elite in the Demacia region. You have Poro in the Freljord region, Spider from the Shadow Isles region, Yeti from the Freljord region, and Elnuk from the Freljord region. This was it for deck building and cards. On to the next one for in-game. The goal for each player is to destroy the enemy Nexus. Both Nexuses have 20 HP, which is the max amount of HP a Nexus can have at any point. At the start of the game, each player gets shown their first hand, consisting of 4 cards. Each player has a chance to swap out these cards from random cards out of the deck. The cards that are swapped out will go back into the deck. At the start of the round, there's a standard sequence that will always happen at every start of the round. Both players draw a card. Max mana goes up by 1 and it refills up to that max mana. Excess mana goes into your spell mana up to a max of 3, more on spell mana later. And the attacking and defending player will swap. The attacking player always goes first, and he can decide what he wants to do with the first turn. Plays a card, the turn will pass over to a defending player, which can then in turn play a card for his turn. So there are certain conditions on which a turn ends. You have rounds where defending and attacking players swap, but you have turns in those rounds as well. And what happens is that a player plays a card and then the turns swap. So there's not one player that has the entire round for himself. The entire round is played by consistently passing over the turns. And there are certain condition that ends a player or passes over a player's turn. It's either a player plays a follower or a champion, a player plays a fast or slow spell, more on that later, or the attacking side has an attacking token. With that attack token means he can drag his units onto the attacking field once per turn, and then confirm his attack, which automatically passes over to the defending unit to in case block the attacking units. Which also comes to point 4, a player confirms their block, which also passes over the turn and lets the attacking sequence happen. More on that later. Lastly, a player can do nothing and just press pass, and if both players do that on a consecutive turn, so player A presses pass and player B presses pass, the rounds will swap. So we go over to the next round, and the start of the round sequence starts over again. So everybody draws a card, mana gets refilled, and it gets over to spell mana, etc. So what is spell mana exactly? Spell mana is mana that you can save up to a maximum of 3, and it will put into a spell bank, which you can then use. Let's say you're at round 5, and you pass on to round 6, and you have 2 mana left over from round 5. 2 of that mana will go into your spell bank, and on turn round 6, you'll have a maximum of 8 mana to spend on a spell. This makes it possible for you to either just save your mana, or you can play a higher cost spell that you would normally not be able to cast at that point. So, while we're on the topic of spells, there's 3 types of spells. One, you have a burst spell, you have a fast spell, and you have slow spells. Burst spells are spells that the enemy player cannot react to. It goes into effect immediately, and you can play as many burst spells as you want in a single turn. They do not pass over your turn. Secondly, we have fast spells. The enemy can react to the fast spells with either another fast spell or a burst spell. A fast spell will end your turn. They will pass over the turn to the enemy player. And lastly, we have slow spells. Slow spells are spells that the enemy can also react to, but it can react with either a slow, a fast, or a burst spell. So it can react with any single spell in the game. And of course, a slow spell also passes over your turn to the enemy player. Lastly, we'll get into how to earn cards. There are several ways to obtain cards. If you like a certain archetype of a deck, you can set your rewards for a certain region. For example, if you like buffing your minions and creating a strong board, you can set your region to Demacia to gain rewards from Demacia. To progress in your regions, you need XP. You get 100 XP per loss, and you get about 250 XP per win. gain XP faster, there are also daily missions, which rewards you in abundance of XP. To show what every chest rewards, I will display a graphic made by the Runeterra team themselves, coming from an article which shows the progression system of Runeterra as a whole. I'll link to it down below in the description. This graphic shows what every chest and every capsule will contain, with the exact amount of cards and wild cards, etc., what you would get out of these chests and capsules. Remember that the rewards can be randomly upgraded at any given time when you're opening them. So the chests can be randomly upgraded and the cards can be randomly upgraded. If you receive a card you already have 3 copies of, because 3 copies of a single card is the max amount of cards you can have, or the max amount of copies. This card will be placed by shards, which you can use to craft other cards. In the meantime, the XP you earn will also be put towards your vault and your vault level. Vault contains 3 chests, which will be upgraded per level you gain. Again, to show what these levels give you, I have another graphic made by the Runeterra team coming from that same article, which I will be linking down below, show you what every level of your vault will give and what the upgrades will be. Lastly, the developers said that they are working on some more XP gaining mechanics, but they can't say more about it yet. I want to thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys thought of the guide and how much it helped you. And I hope to see you guys more often. And if you liked what you saw, make sure to subscribe and like, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.